got a guy like that, built like that, 6'4", you got a transcend like that.
They got Jordan Davis last season. They bring Fletcher Cox back in the middle. So I'm sitting there like, we need to put something on this offensive line to combat that. What's going on? Welcome back, everybody. Today we will be hitting you with the division winners of the AFC North. To lead things off, I'm going to let you know why the Cleveland Browns will win the AFC North this year. Cleveland Browns, we had a lot of expectations out of them with the signing of Deshaun Watson last season. And we kind of thought, Jacoby Brissett would be able to hold things down for him until he got back. They got Amari Cooper, Nick Chubb. Things would be going with David Njoku. But Deshaun showed up and kind of didn't do his best. Or maybe that was his best. But the Cleveland Browns this year, Deshaun's going to turn it around. They get an Elijah Moore. Their offensive line is not bad at all either. You got Jedrick Wills as a nice left tackle, Joe Batonio. Like I said, they traded for Elijah Moore. Defensively, you got JOK. You got Zadarius Smith and Myles Garrett, so you're doing all right there. Greg Newsome and Denzel Ward is what your cornerback room looks like. So on paper, that depth chart looks phenomenal. It's all going to pretty much come down to Deshaun Watson and Kevin Stefanski. But I do think, Nick Chubb is one of the best running backs in the league. And if you can just get behind that little bowling ball and Nick Chubb and let him win you football games, I think you'll be all right in Cleveland this year. What are your thoughts there?
Nah, I think Cleveland is definitely a team that has it all on paper, like you spoke of. You got Myles Garrett. The defense is strong. Strong defense. And I think, as long as you can get Deshaun Watson in there to return to his form, and you got Nick Chubb doing what he does, that play action game and the attention that he going to bring, to that team. They got the weapons. They got everything you could think of. We'll have to see, if the coach can he bring all that together, harness that, and get them where they need to go. But I fully expect them to compete, especially in the division. We know how the AFC North is in general, but to me, it all comes down to Deshaun Watson. And from what all that I can see in the reports that I'm hearing, he's out there, he's slinging around, he's looking like himself, he's accurate, has one of the better arms in the league. I think people is so quick to forget what type of quarterback he is and what he can bring to the table. And if he is that guy that we know he can be, for sure, I think they got a strong chance to win.
Yeah.
So, outside of that, man, but for me, it's the clear cut. I think the Bengals, obviously, we know what type of team that is. I just remember like the year before, after they had the run that they had, being a Super Bowl team and obviously losing, a lot of teams don't respond back to that. We've seen the Rams fall off a year after Super Bowl, but for them, I was like, was it this a team that got hot and couldn't they really repeat what they did? And they came out there. They didn't have the best year. They got hot at the right time. They went to the playoffs and kind of seemed like they just a playoff team. Like Burrow, man, is that dude. They got all the weapons out there. The front game, we'll have to see what happened with Mixon. But, being able just to have Joe Burrow and those weapons, I think that's enough. They losing some P. Ryan, obviously. A couple other guys, Jesse Bates. And when I name these guys like Von Bell, Eli Apple, they lost a lot in the secondary. But we're not right. Eli Apple. He was burnt toast. So that really doesn't matter too much. But I think obviously, at the end of the day, the secondary is not as strong. And then the pass rush outside of Trey Henderson is not the best. But I think in general, the team plays hard. And I think the main thing was showing up that offensive line, getting Orlando Brown in there, getting a left tackle for Joe Burrow. I think that would do wonders for him. You lose a Hayden Hurst, but you get a Irv Smith in there, another guy with high potential. A nice tight end to fill that void. So I think they'll be a strong team, and they'll be right there at the top of the AFC once again. I fully expect that.
And with Cincinnati for me, man, and you mentioned it before, but in the draft, when you're drafting that high in the first round, I think it's impossible to make a mistake just taking an edge rusher there. They just said, fuck it, Miles Murphy, add him over there and let him come in here and get some work. I think that's a smart play. And if anything, that just makes the rest of the defense better.
They needed that, though.
Yes.
Be some pass rush.
Switching over to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Mike Tomlin is the ultimate X factor. We all know that. But you got a Kenny Pickett coming into year 2 along with George Pickens, that Pickens-Pickett combo. And Over there, they got Najee Harris in year 3, Deontay Johnson, Allen Robinson. He might be done. Fryermuth, a nice tight end. They got Darnell Washington. Offensive line is not the best, but probably can't be worse than last year. That's why I expect more out of Najee this year. But I think the Pittsburgh Steelers won 7 of 9 down the stretch. They got a healthy TJ Watt, Alex Highsmith, outside linebacker, kind of emerged, had double-digit sacks, because of TJ Watt going down. So I think without a doubt, like Pittsburgh stands a chance to win this division, man. If Kenny Pickett can improve in year 2 and TJ Watt, Minka Fitzpatrick, and those guys stay healthy, I think Tomlin could easily retake the AFC North.
Yeah, I mean with Tomlin, if it's anything he's good for a floor of 8 games. Whatever you got going on, Tomlin they're gonna compete for him. They're gonna play hard for him. I think it comes down to Kenny Pickett once again, quarterback play. And he looked poised down the stretch. You know what I mean? I seen him kind of get comfortable, get calm. They have the weapons over there. If there's one thing we know with Pittsburgh, they kind of keep those guys over there. And Deontay Johnson and obviously your boy George Pickens, I think he's about to take a leap. I'm not really hanging my hat on Allen Robinson. I think he's he is what he's wise at this point. He is what he is. Hey, who knows? You know what I mean? Maybe Tomlin can be the guy to get something out of him. But definitely the offensive line was terrible last year. So it's hard to see a guy like Najee go through the type of year he had with all the expectations that he had, but he had no room to run. So I think if they can just show that up a little bit, give him some room to run, I think Najee can have a bounce back year. And if he do that, then I think also he'll be able to take some pressure off of Kenny Pickett and so on. And then maybe that run game can go ahead and support that defense, which we know is strong once TJ Watt get in there. And I mean, if they hitting all cylinders, you got a team like that. That's I mean, they kind of got the formula, what I mean, especially in that division where it's just kind of hard nosed. They kind of bringing back that old AFC feel how it used to be back in the day, man. I mean, they're a nice surprise team for me. I don't really know what to expect from Pittsburgh at this moment. But as long as I would say the offensive line just kind of takes a step up next year, I think they got the pieces to maybe surprise some people. Go ahead.
Well, one more thing I was going to add, I just remembered. So they lose a Cam Sutton and get a Joey Porter Jr. And I think,
Big.
You get younger, you save money that way. So I think that was a smart play on the Pittsburgh Steelers' behalf as well. I just wanted to throw that in there.
Yeah. Joe Porter, that might be the steal of the draft.
That's your guy.
for sure. And then obviously the last team we're gonna talk about is the Ravens, man. The Ravens, it was a little back and forth. I think the biggest thing for him was getting Lamar Jackson back in the building, right? For a moment there, it was getting shaky. We didn't know what was gonna happen, but you get your guy back. And the main thing is getting him some weapons. Like we've been all asking up until this point. He had Hollywood for a small brief moment there. But outside of that, it's just been a Mark Andrews deal. And that's one of the better connections in the league. So now getting guys like OBJ around that, and Zay Flowers, who I felt like was the most explosive guy in the draft. You get that speed. Bateman is a guy that has top end speed, and then look, Nelson Aguilar is another guy with speed. So, it's not the best receiver room, but now you have some options. You have some guys to take some pressure off of Andrews. You got some guys on the outside. I think once again with having Lamar Jackson, the run game is going to be the run game. Dobbins, we'll have to see how he responds a year after the injury that he had last year. He wasn't all the way there. Gus Edwards, same thing. The injury bug hit him hard last year. And they still was a team that competed all the way into the end. They had Huntley in there. They still was there. And what you can say about Tomlin, I can almost just say as much about John Harbaugh, another guy that just keeps his guys ready to go at all times. And for me, if I'm not talking about the Bengals per se, when I think about this division, I really think the Ravens could take this strongly. I think the Ravens is, one of the better teams in the AFC and not in this just division, if I must say.
I think too with Baltimore, man, we got a lot of question marks, but similar to Tomlin, like Harbaugh gets those guys to win, So for the AFC North with Baltimore, Dobbins and Edwards in the backfield, what's their health look like? OBJ has now had surgery on both knees. Where is he really at? Aguilar couldn't catch a couple days ago, so where is he at with that? I think there's a lot of question marks here, but if you look just down their depth chart, man, it just big name after big name. You got Tyler Linderbaum, the former first-round pick at center. You got Ronnie Stanley at left tackle. Linebacker room, sign me up for that. Oh, Odafe away, Patrick Queen, Roquan Smith. You mentioned
Trent Simpson
David Ajobu as well. Like
recovering. Hey, if he can return to form, oh boy,
what?
they're gonna be scary over there. That defense is going to be nice.
And you know, for the AFC, if I had to put money on the AFC North, I think you sold me on. I think you sold me on Baltimore for real.
Baltimore.
I think so. If I had to put like $100 on the division winner, I think it would be Baltimore. And that's not a knock on the Cincinnati Bengals, but if you look at that depth chart that the Baltimore Ravens have on defense, man, sign me up.
Yeah.
What are your
And
thoughts?
I like to see just Lamar Jackson kind of go back to being. I mean, I ain't even gonna say go back because it's like every time you step on the field, we know what type of threats he present. And him just being out there, if he could just have a healthy year, play 16 games, the proof is in the pudding. We already know what type of team that's going to be.
I think if they can just get Lamar to throw the ball inside the numbers, you got Mark Andrews is his best weapon. But if they could just find a way, man, to get one more big body receiver in there for him, I think he's set. But OBJ in the slot / Zay Flowers in the slot, I think you're all right. So no, I think the AFC North is very fun. Do you have any final thoughts on that?
I think it's a fun division. Obviously it's a Bengals Baltimore mix, but you sold me on Cleveland Browns as well. I think Cleveland Browns is a team that can come out here and, like I said before, as long as Deshaun Watson does Deshaun Watson things, bro, they can be a scary team, especially with the defense that they have in the run game that they have. And we all know defensive run game. You got that, and you just add strong quarterback play to that. Then that's kind of like the answer to be all. Pittsburgh, a surprise team for me. I don't expect them to be better than those teams right away.
Sure.
Maybe, just maybe, but if Kenny Pickett can take a leap, maybe like a Trevor Lawrence type leap, hey man, look, I might be sold. You know what I mean? So we'll see. But I think the AFC North in general is going to be a fun division this year.